Episode 12, right here on the blind. We're getting ready to talk Delta Waterfowl with Brad Heidel. Garrett, you ready to go, buddy?
I'm ready. I'm excited.
Brad, you here? You ready to go?
I'm ready to go.
All right, Cam, let's go, buddy. Welcome to the blind. Tonight is all about Delta Waterfowl and our special guest tonight, Brad Heidel. We appreciate you, Brad, for being with us tonight.
It's great to be here. Thanks for having us.
So tell everybody exactly where you are right now. Maybe not specific location if you don't want to disclose that, but what town at least?
I'm at 6550 Simpson Road in Dane, Wisconsin. So I'm actually just outside of the capital of Wisconsin, about 20 miles northwest of Madison.
Awesome. So pretty good ways away. And then, Brad, I know you probably don't know a lot about our show or anything. We've just been talking to you for a week or so. Actually, I talked with you a little bit last year, but we used to do this show live on location. So we had to either be with the person, our guest, or they had to be with us, of course. Now we've got this platform where we can send somebody a link and they can pop on just like you did. And so we are glad to be in Wisconsin right now.
Well, it's nice to have you here. It's a beautiful day. It looks like it's 86 degrees and sunny out, so it's a little hot. It's a sad day because it is our last day of turkey season.
Really?
Y'all's runs a little longer than ours, I guess.
Yeah, it typically runs till the last Tuesday just after Memorial Day. And,
awesome.
It's been good.
And so is that hot weather for y'all up there? Because that's kind of like, turning the oven on for preheat down here in Arkansas. So is that pretty hot up there? Or?
It's hot. Yeah.
It's hot.
It's hot.
I'll take 85 any day.
No, I wish it would stay like that here all the time. It's like 96 here today.
Yeah, it's just getting started. So like I said, we're just kind of in the preheat season right now. But enough about the weather down here. Let's talk about you a little bit. Tell everybody kind of what your position is with Delta Waterfowl and what you do.
Sure. Well, I've been with Delta Waterfowl for a little over 5 years now. I'm our senior director of marketing for the organization, which is just a fancy title for just like any other small conservation organization, or even a large conservation organization for that matter. You wear a lot of hats within the organization. So my primary role with the organization is I manage our marketing team. I sell all of our advertising for our magazines. I sell all of our national sponsorships for the organization. And I put on this awesome Duck Hunters Expo in Little Rock, Arkansas. So
absolutely
it all keeps me pretty busy, but we wear a lot of hats. We're a pretty tight organization. We're pretty darn efficient, and we're very proud of that. So
yeah. Well, speaking of the expo, we'll get into that here in just a little while, more in depth. But why Little Rock, Arkansas?
Well, I'll go back a little bit. So prior to coming to Delta Waterfowl, I worked for an organization called Pheasants Forever and Quail Forever, one you've probably heard of.
Yeah.
And I put on National Pheasant Fest and Quail Classic for about 10 years prior to coming to Delta Waterfowl. So big reason for bringing me to the organization was so we could put on an expo similar to that. Mm-hmm. So the first thing you have to do is determine where you're going to go. So a couple things I look at. The average person who comes to the event comes from a 2.5-hour driving radius. So you got to look at a good population of people, but you also got to look at the other things. Where are the most duck hunters in the country? Where are the most members for Delta Waterfowl in the country? And where are most of our local chapters in the country? And you put a freaking X right in Arkansas. So Little Rock, obviously the capital of the state and probably the largest population city in the state, is a no-brainer to have it there.
Yeah.
So we had that first event there last year.
Yeah, it worked out well for us because you hit the nail on the head. We're about 2 hours from Little Rock. And so we drove up and checked it out, and it was an awesome event. We can't wait to get back this year. I guess you're having a Little Rock again.
We are having it at Little Rock again. The cool thing about our event, and it goes to say a lot about Arkansas and the kind of duck hunters you have in that state, is it really turned out to be a duck hunting event. Yeah. There was nothing in that building but duck hunting stuff.
That's right.
80,000 square feet of whatever you can imagine based around duck hunting. I had 2 guys in there just to say, well, I won't even go there, but 2 guys in there that didn't even really have anything to do with duck hunting. We had 2 gutter helmet guys in there, and that was it. And everything else was duck hunter based.
Yeah. Well, Garrett and I, we heard about it last year, of course, and Chris Goss, and I don't want to butcher his role or his title, but I know he's kind of our regional guy around here. He and I kind of got to know each other, and he came on, did an interview with us, stuff like that, and we kind of pushed the expo. But I really don't think that Garrett and I knew how big of an event we were pushing. I mean, of course, it didn't have anything to do with us, but we didn't know that we were kind of somewhat connected with pushing this event. And then we went to it and we were like, wow. I mean, there was duck calling competitions going on. There was, a bar here or there, set up, and everyone was having a great time and walking around. And I mean, you had everything from shotguns to duck calls to knives to bags and dog stands. And I mean, for everyone that watches this episode, if you didn't make it out last year, you got to come to it this year. When you said it was full of duck hunters, it was full of duck hunters.
It was. And the funny thing is you say, well, we really didn't understand how big an event we were really pushing. And you know what? Everyone within our organization really had no idea how big an event they were pushing, or we were pushing, because they'd never done it before.
Right.
I was the only one who came into this with any experience based around an expo whatsoever, and with extensive experience. And so I had it figured out. I knew we were going to hit it out of the park. It was a no-brainer for me. But, for a lot of folks in the organization, this was like some big, ugly, hairy monster that they had no idea what they were getting into. And I can tell you this year, after having one of those expos underneath their belt, they are jacked up about all the people that they got to see. It just takes the organization to so many different levels, the camaraderie between the employees, our board of directors, our members, and our volunteers who actually make this organization really, really tick, are jacked up about this year. I guess I am too, if you haven't figured that one out.
Hey, you should be. I mean, you put on such a great event last year. You should be proud of what you did and proud of what's to come. I know that I'm looking forward to it. Garrett, for some reason, well, let me point this other way. There he is.
Well, here's the thing.
He's not going to make it this year.
Talking to Brad for all this time, me and my wife might end up in trouble, and I might end up having to go.
Excellent.
My wife's due with the baby about the same time as the expo, so I probably won't.
Congratulations.
Thank
you.
Thank you.
There are hospitals very close.
Yeah, if we did it in Little Rock,
maybe we could work
hop
that out.
over.
Yeah, we'll have an EMTs on staff.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
We're good.
Is the doctor that's supposed to do the delivery and stuff is are they hunters? Maybe you could just invite them to the expo with us.
I don't think so, but they are maybe in Little Rock.
Okay,
so that might work out.
It might work out just fine. So
we'll send you some tickets, and you can just give them to them and say, "Come on."
Might have to name him Delta or something. Treat. It's a boy. We could just name him Delta.
It is going to be a boy. Yeah. Well, look, can you?
Is it going to be a boy?
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah. second boy.
Cool.
So
Nice.
can you release or do you know right off top of your head the numbers for last year at the expo? Because there were a lot of
Yeah,
people
oh,
there.
absolutely. Yeah, we did just a little over 20,000 people on the show floor in the 3 days. So that was pretty exciting. We had
Great.
15 different sponsors at the event.
Yeah.
Our biggest sponsor, obviously, is going to be Federal Premium Ammunition, who's just a great support of the organization. And, and I look at your banner below as we're sitting here talking, and I could tell you the vast majority of the people on your banner are not only sponsors of the event, but if they're, or I should say, are going to be at the event, most of them are actually sponsors of the event as well. So
yeah.
You guys are in really good company with some really good people.
Well, we appreciate it, and should have started off the show with it, thanking our sponsors, but none of this is possible without them. And Lyle Real Estate. I know you probably met those guys. They were there last year, and we got that's how we kind of got hooked up with them. We knew them before then, but we kind of got hooked up with them at the expo last year. So you actually helped us out with a sponsor of our own. But man, those guys are just great. Those guys are awesome.
Yeah, we know how good our sponsors are. And every one of them, I think, was there this last year. Maybe Christian wasn't there.
Yeah, but he's going to be there this year, I believe.
Yeah, so he'll be there this year. But the other thing is just so people kind of know and understand how big a deal this was. How many different vendors and booths and all were there last year, and how many are going to be there this year?
So we had roughly 256 10 by 10 booths there, and the State House Convention Center told me last year, they said, Brad, we have never had so many 10 by 10 spots in this building ever before. And I thought, oh, that's pretty cool. I put another 50 in there this year.
Wow.
So we're gonna have people outside the facility. We're gonna have people up against the walls, people in the corners. I mean, the people are just excited to be part of duck hunting companies for certain.
Yeah,
we're just excited to be part of a flat out duck hunting event.
There's a few people you probably need to put in the corner. So there's a couple of
the
them.
Gunner helmet guy. I only got one this year.
That's right. I've heard commercials about that before, but I've never seen one. I may have to stop by their booth.
Do you have gutters on your house?
I do. I guess I need a gutter helmet. Garrett, do you have a clue?
I have no idea what a gutter helmet is. No,
it goes on top of your gutters, keeps leaves and stuff out.
Oh,
yes.
Okay. Yeah.
I know why a duck hunter would need that. Maybe for camp. I don't know.
I mean, you got to get your honeydews in before you go.
There you
hunting.
go.
So
well, the only reason they're there is because they go to all the events where there's a lot of people.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's very practical.
It's a target-rich environment.
That's right. So, since we're on the expo, let's talk about that a little bit more.
Sure.
You said you were extending outside. Now, do you mean just outside that big room we were all in last year, or you mean actually outdoors?
A little bit of both. So
okay.
we'll have some booths set up in the hallways. We're going to have the calling contests and the carving contests will be outside there as well. But we'll actually have our friends from Gator Tail are going to have some boats right outside in the atrium area. So
that's perfect. Garrett's in the market for a new boat.
I'm only in the market because Brian likes to ride.
I'd have to tell you to buy an XL boat and a Mud Buddy motor.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you plug it where you need to.
Exactly.
So let's talk about something that's very important to Garrett and I. Okay. And I would believe is probably the biggest thing for Delta Waterfowl is conservation. So of course everyone wants to kill a bunch of ducks, or geese or whatever it might be. Mm-hmm. But without conservation, we can't do that for the future. So tell us a little bit about Delta and kind of what you guys do on that side as well.
Well, in all reality, you're right. The funny thing is you ask a duck hunter, and you guys are duck hunters, so I'll ask you, what do duck hunters want?
More ducks.
Exactly.
Longevity
they want more ducks.
That's right.
And no matter where you're at, if you're in a bar, if you're in a duck blind, if you're at the boat ramp, the duck hunters want more ducks. And that's really what Delta Waterfowl concentrates on. We are flat out, and we're not embarrassed to say, we are the duck hunters organization. And if it doesn't benefit duck hunters, we're flat out not going to do it.
Yeah.
So that being said, how do we put more ducks on the landscape? We're all about duck production and making the habitat that we already have out there more efficient and more productive. Habitat's extremely expensive. And when you look at the efficiency of it compared to the dollars spent, you're probably looking at a 4% return on the dollars spent. Not that there's anything wrong with picking up habitat, because we have to have it.
Right.
But let's make that habitat really productive. And that's where we really shine as an organization, is making habitat productive. Whether it's private or public habitat, we're all about doing what we can to put more ducks over the decoys every fall flight.
Yeah. So I was looking at Delta's website today, and I was seeing all the same things you're talking about, it being the duck hunters organization. If you're a duck hunter and you don't piece together that we should all be a part of conservation in some way, then you're missing the whole point of it, because that's what's going to leave it for future generations, for my kid, for Brian's kid, leaving it better than we found it. And I was looking at it, and so just kind of a segue into what you were talking about is, with Delta being for duck hunters and having such a emphasis on conservation, last year at the expo, y'all kind of told us how you plan to do that.
We do. And we've put about 30 years worth of research into this. We like to think that, and not myself included, because I'm not one of them, but we're the smartest guys in the room, right? Our scientists are very, very intelligent, and they're very capable at what they do. And what they've done is basically put 30 years into research to figure out what is duck production and how can we make it more productive. And there's two things that they've come up with 30 years of research. One is predator management, and the other is hen houses. So we put together what we call a million duck campaign, and we just announced it last year. And our goal is to raise $250 million so we can put an additional million ducks into the fall flight every single year. And we're getting close to that goal, which is really cool. And we're laying the groundwork to actually get boots on the ground to make sure that it happens. So 75% of that duck production in the Million Duck campaign is going to be predator management, and 25% of it is going to be hen houses. So that's 750,000 ducks predator management, 250,000 ducks hen houses.
Yeah.
So I was looking at your website and watching the video y'all had on YouTube about the Million Duck campaign. The two things that you already hit on a little bit was hen houses and predator management. Now, I know you're maybe not as much into the science and all, but maybe you can answer this. What goes into those two things? I know the hen houses, it talked about having elevated off the ground so predators can't reach the hens as easily. But what does that exactly mean, the hen houses and predator management? What goes into that?
Yeah, excellent question. And when we look at it, we're a nonprofit conservation organization. So we receive our funds from our sponsors, from our members, from our donors. So we want to be very, very efficient with those dollars. So what that means is the vast majority of those dollars that we raise in reference to duck production are going to go where the vast majority of the ducks are produced, which is obviously the prairie pothole region. Roughly 70% of all ducks harvested in a fall come from the prairie pothole region. Yeah. So if we want to be effective with those dollars that are entrusted to us, we're going to put the vast majority of those dollars into that region. So, and then we're going to put them there effectively as well. So we look at densities, breeding populations, and where those densities are at, and nesting populations. Where are they nesting? Where are they the most dense? And that's when we're going to go in and we're going to put up our hen house structures. We'll put up a hen house super site. So a super site roughly consists of, not roughly, it flat out consists of 100 hen houses in a specific geographical location. So those hen houses will go in open water. They don't work over dry land, and they don't work in the cattails. They have to be over open water, and they sit about 3 to 4 feet up off the water. And what that does is that allows hen mallards a safe place to nest. So they don't have to worry about raccoons, skunks, coyotes, etc., chasing them down in their nest. Roughly 90% of all duck nests in the Prairie Pottle region get hit by predators. 90%. And it takes at least 15% just to maintain population.
Yeah. Wow.
So that's how our hen houses work. And then we'll do the same thing with predator management. So we call them trapping hotspots. We'll look for the densest areas of those breeding populations. And we get permits and we trap predators starting March 1st all the way through the end of July, right during that nesting season.
Right.
And we hit those dense spots really hard and take out as many predators as we possibly can to give those ducks a fighting chance.
Yeah,
That's
another thing
awesome.
I was looking at on there was nest success rates was something that the website spoke a lot about. And it said that nest success needs to be somewhere between 15 to 20%. And right now, in a lot of the most important areas in North America, that's less than 5%.
It is.
Right?
Yes.
And so that's another reason why you're doing what you're doing.
It's the main reason we're doing what we're doing.
It's
Yes,
not a
absolutely.
sustainable model to let it go the way it's going.
Correct. Yep.
Yeah.
Correct.
Well, look, we're gonna keep talking the million duck campaign, and we're gonna talk some more conservation. We're gonna take a short little break, show some love to some of our sponsors, and when we come back, we're gonna have more from Brad Heidel and Delta Waterfowl. We'll be right back. Welcome back to The Blind. We've got Brad Heidel here with us from Delta Waterfowl, and he is the marketing guy for Delta Waterfowl. I mean, we've been telling everybody all week we've got the head honcho with us this week, and
I wouldn't go that far.
well, will the head honcho be in Little Rock?
Absolutely.
You and I talked with you and sent you an email and said, hey, if we come up there and do a podcast at the expo, would you be on with us? And you said, sure. And then I said, you know what? We'll do one at the expo, but why not have him on now? Let's get him on now and let's get all the news and the word about the expo out there so people will know, but let's get him on now and talk with him. So we do look forward to having you on again at the expo and just kind of talking all about what's going on there. But I'd love for you to hook us up with some of the big guys too.
Absolutely. I think you guys get a kick out of Dr. Petrie and Dr. Rohr, our CEO and our president, both been with the organization for quite a while, and both characters that you'd have a lot of fun with. And
well, we'd love to sit down and chat with all of you guys and just learn as much as we can. I mean, Garrett and I, we go to the banquets. We've been involved with different stuff. We know about the organizations, but until you really sit down and think about some of this, that's what a lot of guys do. You just go to the banquets, you give your money, you buy a ticket, but the organization is more than just that.
Yeah, it really is. We've talked a lot about duck production and conservation and habitat, but you had mentioned earlier, Garrett, why do we do this? Is we want it to go on well into the future. And so there's a lot of other things that we do within the organization. We have 4 different pillars in the organization. And, one of them is what we call Hunter 3, which is basically an R3 program, which is retention, reactivation, and recruitment of new hunters. Yeah. So we're all diehard hunters, and we all understand what conservation is. And we also understand that conservation is conservationists are some of the greatest, duck hunters and hunters are the greatest conservationists on the face of the earth, right? Well, we all know that we're losing our numbers as far as hunters and fishermen are concerned. So that's where we really put our efforts into our Hunter 3 program. We should try and get new hunters out there in the field, whether they're young hunters or even more importantly, young adults. Young adults who have never hunted before are really the key to where we're at right now, because those are the folks that have a driver's license, they have some disposable income, they can get out and they can hunt right now. Getting the young kids out, really important, but we need to focus on young adults and getting those folks out into the field right now, because they really are going to be the future, all we love and cherish.
Yeah. Well, I know one thing, I do enjoy the banquets though.
They're a lot of fun.
But Garrett and I, we buy a lot of tickets and we never win anything. It's just, I think it's rigged.
That's because you're not buying enough.
That's right. That's right. We go in there and we try to buy a couple of tickets and we're upset we don't win.
We try to be cheapskates, try to win on the cheap end.
That's right. We're wanting to get lucky.
That's right.
We all do. So let me give you a tip, okay?
Okay. So
I pulled a number of raffle tickets in my life, like thousands of them. Always crinkle them up. Don't leave a flat one in there.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
We tried that technique. It still didn't work.
It still didn't work?
It still didn't work.
I guess you just got to buy more.
Brad, I don't know if you can see on your screen, but there's the Dreaded Archer podcast that's commented a few times. I don't know exactly what your screen looks like.
I saw it, yes.
We do have some friends of ours and that do the Dreaded Archer podcast, and that is on. What is it on? Carbon TV? What is it on? It's on
Carbon TV.
Carbon TV. So, but yeah, they do. It's all about archery and stuff like that, and they've got a sports show that they do as well. So, those guys, they said we weren't buying enough tickets, so maybe we can take them with us next year or this year and see if they can help us out.
Fair enough. Are you guys bow hunters as well then?
Well, we both bow hunt. I don't know if you'd call us bow hunters, but we both bow hunt.
Yeah, I don't know. A lot of people look down on the crossbow guys, so I'm in that camp. So I don't have the time or patience to sit out and practice a regular bow. So I'm probably not a true bow hunter.
Well, one thing I've learned I've been in the hunting business my entire life is never knock another guy for the way he hunts. Just let him hunt.
That's right. Well, let's talk about hunting for a little bit. Tell us what all, hunting you do and kind of where you do it at.
We do quite a bit. I actually get out a lot. Like I mentioned, we just wrapped up our turkey season here in Wisconsin. So we get roughly 6 weeks of turkey hunting here in the state, it's been a pretty exceptional year. I was actually sitting on the front porch today, taking off all my turkey hunting clothes, and I'm thinking, well, September 1st, it's exactly 3 months away.
Yeah.
So I got 3 more months before I get to go hunting again. So
what do you guys do September 1st?
3 years ago, I really got excited about, I went on a dove hunt the year before in the South, and I just thought, this is the coolest thing with all the fun times that go around. It's basically just you hunt and you have a barbecue and a beer party afterwards and just get a bunch of friends together. So I decided I was going to try that up here. So I started planting sunflowers about 3 years ago, and I have the most beautiful sunflower fields for the last 2 years you have ever seen. About 4 acres of them, absolutely gorgeous. Not a dove. Not a dove. And then last year they found it. They found the sunflowers, and we had a ball hunting doves.
Yeah.
And I'm only about an hour and a half from the Mississippi River. So that early teal season is pretty spectacular depending on water conditions, not so much weather, but water conditions. If the river is a little bit low versus high, you can do really well on the Mississippi for blue-winged teal September 1st. And that's a lot of fun. Then my wife loves to bow hunt. So we spend a lot of time in the tree in the fall. And then you start Started thinking about elk hunting, get into that. Then you got late season ducks. Then January comes around and we start hammering geese.
Yeah. Well, I didn't know if it opened about that same time. September 1st is always a fun time for me as well. I love to go to camp and dove hunt and hang out, and like you said, it's more of a festivity than it is,
Mm-hmm.
really serious hunting. It's kind of a time when all the guys can get back out and kind of hang out again and start getting ready to move on into fall and football season and that kind of stuff. But Garrett
Go
told me
Badgers.
yeah. Hey, that's perfectly fine. We just wish that y'all would have kept Brett Bielema instead of sending him down here. But Garrett told me one time that if sunflowers don't work, that you could always just go throw a bunch of weed out, and that that works. That's what he told me.
I've not tried that.
I was talking with some guys. I was at the NRA show in Pennsylvania this spring, which is a huge event. If you've never been to it, it was actually the first time. Surprisingly enough, it's the first time I've ever been to that event, and it's huge. It's absolutely huge. And I was talking to a gentleman there who had a planter, and I was talking to him about planting corn and sunflowers and stuff. And he goes, just mow down about 10 square foot of sunflowers. He says, get the cheapest 50-pound bag of sunflowers you can find and throw it out there. And I'm like,
yeah,
I don't know about that.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like the best idea.
No. Mm-mm.
Yeah, you got to be careful with that kind of stuff. I mean, they'll get you. They'll get you anytime, anywhere.
Yes, and in my occupation, that's not my best interest.
Yeah, well, anybody's, unless you're making so much money you just like to pay tickets, which is
fair enough.
Which is not me. So
me,
and we have the Arkansas Game and Fish guys on the show every now and then, so we probably want to keep them pretty happy.
Yeah, I actually texted one of them and told him that you were going to be on tonight, and so I think one of them is probably going to end up tuning in, whether he watches it live or afterwards. But do
you guys work with Trey down there?
Trey
Reed, I think it is.
Trey Reed, yeah.
Good guy.
Yeah. So they now Trey Reed, as in the guy that's messaging about the podcast, or is he a game warden or what?
No, he's not a game warden. He's probably more of the podcast guy.
Okay, yeah. So that's who the dreaded archer is.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's he's
I had no idea he did that as well.
Yeah, so his brother is down here, and they do a sports show together as well. And so, if we're talking about the same guy, then yes, that's the one we're talking about.
Sounds possible.
If not, we're giving this other one, this other Dre Reed.
He's got a podcast now.
Yeah, he's got a podcast too. So
yeah.
Either way, but well, look, let's take one more short break real quick. Show some love to our sponsors because we sure do appreciate them. And when we come back, we're going to talk more Delta waterfowl with Brad Heidel. We'll be right back. Welcome back to The Blind, episode 12. We have got Brad Heidel here with us with Delta Waterfowl. And if you are looking for a way to get involved, if you are a waterfowl hunter, or maybe you want to be a waterfowl hunter, you can get involved with Delta Waterfowl. Now, you may ask how. Well, that's what we're about to ask Brad. We want to know how, if you want to get involved, how we can get involved as waterfowl hunters or potential waterfowl hunters, or maybe someone that just loves the outdoors. What's all the ways that you can get involved with Delta Waterfowl?
Well, I will tell you this, that the best way that you can get involved would be start a local chapter right in your local hometown. Find a bunch of other guys who you love to spend time with, who love to duck hunt, and start a local chapter there. We've got regional directors all over the area. You already mentioned Chris Goss is right there in Arkansas. He'd be happy to talk to some people about starting a new chapter in the area. That really floats all boats within the organization. That builds membership, that builds donors, that brings funds into the organization. It's a great time to spend with a lot of guys. It doesn't take a lot of work to put on an event. You get a lot of help from your regional director, and it's really a really neat way to make a difference. The easiest way to do is just become a member. Go to deltawaterfowl.org and become a member. You can become a member for as little as $35 and getting involved with the organization. And I would say an even better way to do that is come on down to the Duck Hunters Expo in July in Little Rock and sign up for a membership right there. I'm sure they're probably going to be giving away some really neat free goodies to go along with that membership as well, if I was to guess.
Yeah, and that's
those are
the
really
cool
the
thing
easiest
about
ways.
that's the cool thing about the waterfowl industry and just the waterfowl community, I guess, is that, man, there's so many ways that you can get involved. But just like the expo, if people who are going to be new to duck hunting or the outdoors or whatever, you come down there to that expo and you're going to be welcomed in like you've been a hunter for your whole life. I mean, it's a tight knit community. And especially at the expo, I mean, everyone's there because they care about the organization. They care about the ducks. And, we've got to have more of that for the future. I mean, it's getting tougher and tougher all the time.
It is. And you'll get to see some really neat things.
Yeah.
Right smack dab in the middle of my screen is Shin. Shin will be there in full force this year, and they're actually sponsoring the first ever Call Makers Championship.
That's awesome.
There's another organization that does a calling contest, but they're all about turkeys, and it's probably the largest one in the country. I said that's enough of that. And we're going to have the largest Call Makers Championship, Call Makers duck calling card. You try and say that all at once. It's hard to do. But Call Makers Championship at the event. So that'll be new this year. And it's really cool because the main event is based on historical duck call. So this year we're going to be doing the Taylor call, which is right out of Arkansas there. And all call makers are going to have to make a call similar, or at least looks like the Taylor call. Yeah. And they'll be judged on that individually versus, making one just from scratch, whatever you want it to look like, etc., whether it be decorative, whether it sounds good or not. But this one has to mimic the Taylor call. So it brings in a lot of that hunting heritage that I think really is deep within the duck hunting world. Whether you're a young duck hunter or an old duck hunter, you still think the past is really cool and you want to be part of that.
So is that going to be a duck calling contest, or just we're going to look at the call and judge the call, the look of it?
Garrett, that's an excellent question. That is a carving contest. So it's particularly carving, but it is judged on its sound as well. So not only will it be on the aesthetics and the looks and how it relates to the Alvin Taylor call, but it also has to make a pretty sweet noise as well.
Yeah. So along with that competition, I know last year we had some calling competitions and things like that. What other competitions or whatnot will you have at the event this year?
Yep. So on Saturday, we'll have the World Championship Cut Down Duck Calling Contest. That's sponsored by the guys from Drake and the guys from Max Prairie Wings. Yeah. And that was just a huge hit last year. The guy who won actually brought his whole trophy. The trophy stood about 3 foot tall, and he brought it downtown, and they're throwing beer on the guy at the bars and everything. It was wild, that guy. But it was a really big deal. Nice young kid who won it and did a really good job. And so we'll be doing that in perpetuity with the organization and the event as well. So 2 really neat contests. The call carving contest will be on Friday, the judging, etc. Friday, and the actual World Championship Cut Down Duck Calling Contest is on Saturday.
That's awesome. And what time on Friday does the event get kicked off as far as the expo?
Well, we kick it all off with a duck dog parade. I mean, it's
Awesome.
hard to hunt ducks or it's hard to hunt ducks well, I should say, without a dog.
Yeah.
So we have a duck dog parade that will run along the river, and they'll be the star of the show and walking everybody into the event at noon. So doors open at noon on that Friday.
Awesome.
And run till 5 o'clock on Friday or 6 o'clock on Friday. And then we are open from 9 until 5 on Saturday and from 9 until 4 on Sunday. And it's cheap. It's only $10 a piece to get in, and kids get in for free. 16 and under get in for free. So bring the whole family. There's so much to see.
Yeah. And, you know, that's a great thing that you guys are doing, especially, you know, letting the kids in for free. That's something, you know, Garrett and I, when we talked about doing this show, you know, of course, we want to talk products. We want to talk organizations. We want to talk all of this stuff in, you know, the outdoor world, you know, and lean heavier on the waterfowl side of it. But one of our main goals was that we want to make sure that we get kids involved, that we make sure that we preach, you know, kind of our agenda. And that's all based around the future and for our kids to have what we had and hopefully have it better. And, you know, just that small thing. A lot of people say, well, you know, kids eat for free here, or kids get into this for free, or kids, you know, this, it kind of becomes so generic that you don't think about the reasoning behind it. But you guys letting those kids in, you know, first off, you're wanting to draw the parents because they don't want to have to buy, you know, they don't have to purchase a ticket. But it's also encouraging them not just to come by themselves, but bring your kids, because they do get in for free. And I think that's such a big thing that gets overlooked so very often.
And that kind of thing for a kid, when they go into something like that, like, I mean, we look at it and it's big, but when they see it, I mean, that's something they'll probably remember their whole lives as going to something.
It's huge.
Yeah. I mean, they just, in their mind, it's going to be so much bigger, and it already is big enough, but it's, like I said, it's like creating a memory for, they'll probably have their whole life.
Yep, absolutely. You know, it's funny you say that. It's like the kids come in, they're all like,
yeah.
But then you see the adults coming in, they're all like,
they're doing the same thing.
Oh Mama's like, hey, don't spend all that money.
That's right. That's right. So are there any surprises or any famous, you know, people or anything that you can disclose right here on the blind that's going to happen at the expo this year? Because if I remember correctly, Garrett and I ran into Phil Robertson last year at the expo.
Yep. Fair enough.
And you don't have to. Don't let us put you on the spot, but we'd love for you to give something out right here.
I'll tell you what I could tell you, but I can't promise anything. So, so as you had mentioned last year, Justin Martin was there from Duck Commander, and Phil Robinson was there on Saturday from Duck Commander, which was really cool. I can also tell you that Drake White was actually playing in the banded booth and singing right there on the show floor, which was really cool. Yeah. Chad Belding from the Fowl Life should be around. You know, a lot of folks like that. Expect to see him there. So
another thing I think was cool about it was being there. There's a lot of people that all they know is the Robertsons or those big names that you're saying. But for true duck hunters, I mean, like we know.
Here we go. We're getting into. He's dropping all these titles.
Please do.
Well, we know so many people out there that we look up to that maybe aren't the big name. And those guys are all there. I think of guys like Rod Heidel that was on our show. I mean, we blow his calls, and to get to come shake his hand and meet him was really cool for us. And there's those people are everywhere. Yeah,
it's what has amazed me about this event is what it's turned into just in a year. You know, I knew it was going to be great last year, and now after the event last year, people are calling and saying, we're doing this bigger. We're doing this even better than we did before. You know, and some of the folks that are just coming in, you know, Josh Raggio from Raggio Calls is another one who will have his booth set up there and be tuning calls and making calls there on the show floor. Yeah,
cool guy.
You know, and it's folks like that. Jim from Rich and Tone who's a legend in Arkansas, will be down there.
Yeah.
It really is the mecca for duck hunting. So I'm really happy and proud of what it's turned out to be just in this short amount of time.
Yeah.
Well, people are. Go ahead, Brian.
Well, I was just going to say we're proud to have it in Arkansas, and I hope that it's bigger and better this year. And I know you guys probably have plans. Big organizations, you got plans further than just this year already. But no matter how many times you hear it at the expo, I hope that you keep bringing it back to Arkansas. So,
well, I will tell you this much, that my original intent and my plan is to move this on a rotational business, or a rotational where maybe we do Little Rock, maybe we do St. Louis, maybe we do Kansas City, maybe we do Nashville, maybe we do New Orleans, Baton Rouge, who knows? But we move it around in a rotation. So every 5 years we come back to one spot. So
I got you.
That's the plan. We'll see if it comes together, but right now we're coming back to Little Rock.
That's right. Now, all that matters right now is this year.
Yes.
So, well, look, let's take. Oh,
go ahead.
No, you go right ahead. We got plenty of time.
I was gonna say, well, we've talked about Expo and Delta for a while. You just want to talk about duck hunting for a little bit?
Yeah. So, well, that's perfect. That's perfect. So, look, let's do this real quick. Let's take one more break. We're going to come back with what we like to call the final flight, and that'll be kind of our last segment of tonight's episode. And so we're going to get into duck hunting with Brad. We're going to find out where his honey holes are and see if he'll give us all the secrets and stuff to how to kill ducks, at least up there in Wisconsin. Maybe we can learn something down here in Arkansas. So we're going to take a short break. We'll be right back right here on The Blind. Well, welcome back. We are joined tonight by the number one co-host in all of the waterfowl industry, Mr. Garrett Camp. We see
That's
him
way too big a title. way too big.
Number one in your hearts, number one in the podcast world.
Number one on this podcast, that's for sure.
That's right. But the star of tonight, Mr. Brad Heidel from Delta Waterfowl. We appreciate him for being here. And Brad, let's talk some duck hunting. Mm-hmm. Tell us a little bit about, what kind of duck hunting is there up there where you duck hunt at? I mean, do you hunt fields or lakes or ponds, or tell us a little bit about it?
It really varies. So, I like to start up in Canada, and I'm fortunate enough to be able to do that. So there's two different opportunities in Canada, and one is hunting fields, which is just an absolute ball, dry field hunting in Canada. Early season, we're talking, that first week in October, right around their Thanksgiving is usually pretty spectacular. And once the crops are pulled off the fields and their migration is really starting to come down. The only iffy part there, and it's really not an iffy part so much in Canada, because they don't look at drakes and hens in the same way we do down here in the United States. But it's really hard that time of year to tell the difference between a drake and a hen in most cases. It really can be, depending on the weather situation, etc. But start up there and then hunting big water. One of my favorite things to do is hunt divers, and you probably don't do too much of that down there, but certainly do absolutely love getting out on the big water with the dog. And, hunting canvasbacks and bluebills, and canvasbacks, bluebills, ringbills. It's an absolute ball. It's one of my favorite things to do. So we try to get that done a lot here in Wisconsin. The Great Lakes are spectacular for waterfowl hunting. And there you're doing a lot of layout boat hunting, something probably once again you guys don't do a whole lot down there, where you're actually going out on some pretty big water and you got this little UFO looking boat and you're laying down in the water, and it's pretty much just you and the ducks, and that's it. Where you got two buddies in the chase boat watching you miss ducks and laughing over the radio is always makes for a good time.
I've only ever seen videos of that. So when you said big water, I was going to ask you, are we talking about like Great Lakes, big water? Like big water for us is not nearly, that's like the ocean. It looks
absolutely. That is like the ocean. You're absolutely correct. It really is. I mean, it's that type of big water. Yes.
Yeah. So you are a lot tougher than we are. We're not that tough to hunt something like that.
We like shin deep water.
You might be surprised. You're duck hunters, and you're going to go where the ducks are at.
That's right. So, that's right.
So, that's always a lot of fun.
We got some guys tuning in that are trying to be funny guys here, so just don't pay them any attention.
I can't even. I'm not even reading it. It's probably for the best.
There you go.
So fair enough. So that's a lot of fun. Then you have your shallow water marshes around here that you can hit pretty hard. I'm not too far from. I'm an hour and a half from the Mississippi River, so you guys are all real familiar with what kind of flyway that is, and what opportunities go along with the Mississippi. And then late season, our duck season. You guys say that you don't get a lot of ducks down there late in the year, right? I mean, everybody hears it, and we say the same thing up here that you guys say down there. Weather is such an issue right now, and I don't want to call it. I'll call it climate change. I won't say that it's man-made climate change, but it's getting warmer. We're talking about the weather earlier, and we're not freezing up here until January now, which is unheard of. I mean, we used to be ice fishing in December, right after the rifle deer season is over with, and now we don't freeze up until January. So ducks and geese are only going to fly as far south as they need to go for open water and for food. So we deal with the same thing here. We really see a ton of ducks come through as soon as the season closes. It's crazy. But then we just get after the geese. I mean, we have geese here through the end of January, and we're just hunting, big Canada geese basically is what we're hunting.
Yeah, we decided a few years ago. We kept talking about it. Man, the ducks just not coming far enough south. We need to go further north. So we decided to take a trip north, and we went up to Kansas. And the guys we got up there, and they were saying they just don't come down here like they used to. Like, how far north you got to go to find them? I guess Canada.
Well, I wouldn't even say that. It really is just based on the seasons too, because the seasons are they're like here in Wisconsin. They got to open up that last weekend in September, so everybody could get out and shoot their wood ducks. And then we only have a 60-day season. You as well, right?
Right.
So that by the time it really starts getting cold, our season's over with. And
well, and it speaking of that, it's always been a bucket list thing for us, because we don't get to hunt dry fields, and we were supposed to go to Canada last year to duck hunt, but our trip wasn't until January, so of course
it's pretty cold.
Yeah, it got real cold. Apparently, a blizzard. Whatnot.
I think we were going in November.
No.
Pretty sure
not
it was
last
November.
year. It was January, but I think it was January. Whenever
season
it was.
even run into January?
I think it's November.
Okay, well maybe it was November. Whenever
Canada's froze up pretty solid.
Maybe it was January, but my story sounded better when I said January. Everybody thought it was real cold, but apparently it snowed a lot, and our flights got canceled. Whatever happened, and they told us they put us over to this year, and so we're going earlier. And Garrett's not going because of the new baby. So he sold his trip to somebody else. But when are we going this year, Garrett? I can't even remember this year.
Y'all are going in October this year.
October, okay.
So we shouldn't have that same problem.
I have no clue where we're going. Where are we going, Garrett?
Calgary.
Okay, Saskatchewan.
Yeah.
Yep. Excellent.
Yeah, so we don't know a lot about it. We just kind of booked up with this guy that we know, and he's from down here in Texas, not far from us, and so he's promising us a good hunt. So we
Very cool.
we hope so. But
well, I had my first green timber experience this last December down in Arkansas, and
was it a good one?
It would be top 5 for me.
Really?
It was absolutely
where was
cosmic.
it at?
Right there in Little Rock.
Okay. Was it at a club or not? I'm just trying to find out where
it was
exactly
in the
this was.
southeast part of the state.
Okay, well, good.
So I couldn't even tell you the town because I don't even remember.
Probably around Lake Village, somewhere in that area.
Or Stuttgart, or
sure.
you know.
No, it was farther than Stuttgart.
Further south. Okay.
Further south and east. Yeah.
So from a guy that's only hunted timber once, what makes it so special?
The birds are right in your face.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. I remember the first morning, I couldn't even shoot because it was so cool. And I literally picked up my phone and I FaceTimed my wife and I said, "You got to see this." And I turned my phone around and just so she could see these ducks coming in. I said, "It's been like this all morning long." It's pretty cool. It's neat. They're right in your face and there's lots of them. And I don't know. It was more than I expected it to be.
Yeah.
It was.
Well, I'm glad you got a great hunt because it's not always like that, but just like anywhere. But man,
Yes.
when it happens, even if it just happens a little bit, I mean, it doesn't have to be, you don't have to kill 30 or 40 mallards. I mean, you just go and kill 8 or 10, pick out greenheads, and I mean,
Yes.
it's we think, of course, we're a little biased because of where we're at, but we think it's the best thing ever. I mean, it's so beautiful out there, and like you said, they're so close. You can see the ducks well. I mean, and it's just it's magical.
Mm-hmm. It is, and you don't have really time to think about it because they're right on you. So it's it's just basically point and shoot, which is always better.
Yeah.
So if we ever get you guys up here to go layout bow hunting, you can see them coming from like 2 miles away. So you're just getting ready. You're getting ready. And that's
I know I'd miss. Yeah, I'd miss every
That's
time.
never a good thing.
As many shells as we shoot, I don't know if we could afford to come up there and do that.
That's why you have a fine sponsor like Apex.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. We still shoot a bunch of shells, even though we may get some. We still shoot a bunch of them.
Excellent.
You would think as close as they were that we'd be a lot better at shooting, but man, we just we waste them. We go to the plug.
We get so excited. They're so close. You get so excited.
Yes.
It's like bow hunting. A big deer comes in and it's so close. You just get kind of shaky. And I do. Brian may not.
Hey, when we don't start getting excited, it's time to stop.
That's right. That's right.
I don't get to shaking and stuff like that, but I like to go to the plug. If I can kill 3, I'm trying to kill 3. Most of the time I don't, but I'm giving them all 3. That's all I know.
He'll give them 3 before anybody else gets their first shot out. That's what he'll do.
You'll have to. I'll have to send you. I got a barrel sticker for you. You can put it right on your barrel. It just says "Take it to the plug."
That's right. Oh, I love that. Yeah, that's exactly what I need. That's exactly. Well, look, I don't know if how our season's going to be or anything, but we'd love to invite you down and for you to come on a hunt, with us down here. And of course, we can't promise anything, but if you get time and you want to come to Arkansas and hunt, let us know, and we'll do our best to get you down here and put you on some ducks. So
you bet. Well, the invitation is always open. Come up here, maybe get on Green Bay and shoot some old divers, which is a good time.
Well, we sure appreciate it. Well, look, before we get off here and let you get back to your family, we know it's Tuesday night and all of us have families and stuff, and we sure do appreciate you taking the time for us. But what are kind of some parting words about the expo or just Delta Waterfowl in general that you just want people to know? We may clip just this little part out and put it out there, but just straight from you, what do you want people to know about your organization?
Straight from me, what you need to know, the vast majority of the people that are listening to this podcast right now, you're all duck hunters. So if you're a duck hunter, you need to support conservation. You need to be part of the Duck Hunters organization. It's $35 a year to become a member. I just ask you, be part of the organization, help give back to the sport that you cherish and care so much about. And come on down to the Duck Hunters Expo, July 28th, 29th, and 30th in Little Rock. It's $10 to get in. We would love to have you come down. You're going to see some really cool things, and you're going to be with thousands of other people just like yourself. Excited about this year's duck hunting season and the fall flight that's going to be spectacular this year.
For sure. And so if you can't afford the $10 ticket to come, Garrett, since he can't be there, he's going to purchase a bunch of tickets.
One ticket. I got one ticket.
That's not what you told me, but he's going to purchase. If you don't have a ticket or you can't afford one, you message us and we'll make sure that Garrett buys you a ticket.
Well, it better be one guy and a busload of kids he can bring with him.
I tell you what, I'll get Garrett off the hook here. If the $10 is staying your way, shoot these guys a note and we'll get you a ticket.
That's right. Either way, we're going to get you a ticket because we want you to be there, because we went last year. If you didn't get to make it or whatever your reason was, we went, and it's a great event. If you're a duck hunter, if you're a kid, even if you're a wife, I mean, there's plenty of stuff to look at and do, and it's a great time. And I think it's going to be bigger and better this year. And Brad, we really appreciate you putting this thing on and for bringing it back to Little Rock, Arkansas for the second year.
You bet. Looking forward
And
to it.
if you're planning on coming, the one thing you definitely need to do is start saving now, because when you get in there, your pocketbook will go empty really, really fast.
We didn't even buy a lot, but we spent a lot.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, look, Brad, man, we appreciate you so much for taking time out of your busy day and your schedule to jump on here with us. And make sure you go over and follow Delta Waterfowl on social media. And make sure you go over and follow us on social media to keep up with all of the content we're putting out. We're going to share, we already do, but we're going to share more stuff from Delta Waterfowl on our page and all of our social media sites. So if you're interested in becoming a member, there's going to be some stuff out there that we'll share where you can go to. And also, if you are local around the Texarkana, Arkansas area or the Magnolia, Arkansas area, we will share some stuff as well about our local chapters so that you can become a member here locally as well, because we appreciate those guys for everything they do for us here locally. And we want to make sure that we make their banquets and their events bigger and better each year, because I believe it, if you make the local ones bigger and better, that just makes the organization bigger and better all around. So Brad, man, we sure do appreciate you. Hope to keep in touch. I will see you in July. I know Garrett hates that he won't be there, but I'll see you in July. We hope to have you on the show again.
Sounds great. Hey, good luck with your baby, Garrett.
It's been
Thanks,
a pleasure,
guys.
Brad. Appreciate you.
Bye-bye.
All right. Well, that's going to do it right here on The Blind. We appreciate Brad for jumping on with us from Delta Waterfowl. Cam's going to take us out with one more commercial, and then he will take us off of the show. But we appreciate you. Make sure you go and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Go over and like or follow, subscribe on our social media, especially on our podcast platforms, Apple Podcast and Spotify. We appreciate you for tuning in. That's going to do it for episode 12 with Delta Waterfowl. We'll see you next time right here on The Blind.
Okay, all right.